A home can be full of people and still feel unsettled. It can have noise and activity and meals shared at the same table and still carry a tension underneath all of it that nobody talks about directly, but everyone feels. The unresolved conversation that keeps getting postponed. The relationship inside these walls that is somewhere between fine and fragile. The financial pressure that does not disappear when the front door closes. The weariness that each person carries in and sets down somewhere in the house and leaves there even after they go to bed. A home is not just a building. It is an atmosphere, and atmospheres are shaped by what is carried into them, what is spoken inside them, what is left unaddressed within them, and what is invited to fill them. This is Saturday, March 14th. For most people, Saturday morning is the first moment all week where the pace slows enough to actually feel what is happening inside the home. The weekday rush masked it. The schedule kept everyone moving. But now, in the slower start of a weekend morning, whatever has been living underneath the surface of this house has a little more room to rise. And what rises is not always peace. Maybe you feel that this morning? The quietness that should feel restful, but instead feels heavy. The Saturday that should feel like a relief, but carries the same tension the week left behind. The awareness that the people you love most are also the people you sometimes struggle with most. And sharing a home means sharing all of it, the good and the complicated and the unresolved. You cannot manufacture peace for your home. You cannot talk your family into it or organize your way to it or simply decide that this weekend will be different and make it so by willpower alone. Peace that lasts, the kind that actually changes the atmosphere of a home, comes from one source, and you came to that source this morning before anything else. His word declares in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24 through 26, that the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. That blessing was not spoken over a church building or a prayer meeting. It was spoken over a people, families, households, ordinary people living ordinary lives who needed the peace of God to enter the spaces where they actually lived. That blessing is available for your home this Saturday morning. Before we enter this prayer, write in the comments right now, Lord, I invite your peace into my home today. Write it as an open door, because peace is not something God forces on a household. It is something that is welcomed in. That declaration is your invitation, and he responds to invitations, like this video, as a sign that you are receiving what God has for your home today. Subscribe to this channel so we can seek God together every morning before the day sets the tone, and share this prayer with someone in your family or someone you know whose home needs this right now. You may not be able to explain to them what they need, but you can hand them this. Now let us open the door. Lord, my God and my Father, on this Saturday morning I come before you, not only for myself but for the people and the space I share my life with. I bring you my home. Not just the rooms and the walls, but what lives inside them. The relationships, the patterns, the habits of interaction that have formed over time, some of them healthy and some of them not. The silences that mean something, the tensions that have names and the ones that do not. I bring all of it before you, and I ask you to do what I cannot do on my own. Enter this space and fill it with what only you can give. Your word declares in the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15, that as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. I make that declaration again this morning, not as a badge of spiritual achievement, but as a posture of surrender. This home belongs to you, every room of it, every relationship within it, every conversation that will happen inside these walls today. I place all of it under your authority and your care. Father, I want to be honest about what disrupts peace in a home, because it is rarely the dramatic things. It is almost always the small ones. It is the tone of voice used before coffee, the response that came out sharper than intended and nobody addressed it. The habit of one person that irritates another and has been silently tolerated for so long that the silence itself has become a kind of distance. The way stress from outside the home gets carried inside it and distributed to people who did not cause it. The expectations that were never spoken but are still felt when they go unmet. The exhaustion that makes everyone slightly less patient, slightly less generous, slightly less present than they want to be. Peace in a home is not the absence of these things. It is the presence of something strong enough to hold the household together through all of them. Maybe that is exactly where you are this morning. You love the people in this home deeply. And it is precisely because you love them that the friction hurts. That the distance, when it opens, feels like something more than inconvenience. That the difficult seasons inside these walls leave marks that the good ones have to work to repair. Your word declares in the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verses 12 through 14, that as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, we should clothe ourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, bearing with one another and forgiving one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you, and over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. That is not a description of a perfect family. That is a description of a family that has chosen something better than perfection, a family that bears with each other, that forgives, that returns to love, not because everything is resolved, but because love is the decision that holds the rest together. Lord, clothe my household in those things today. Clothe me first, because peace in a home almost always starts with one person who chooses a different posture. One person who absorbs tension instead of returning it. One person who offers patience when they have every reason to offer irritation. Let that person be me today. Let what you pour into me in this prayer be what I carry into every room I enter today and every interaction I have within these walls. Lord, I invite your peace into my home today. Let it enter through the way I greet the people I live with this morning, before the first conversation that could go either way, before the moment when someone says something careless and I have to decide how to respond, before the small frustration that is already waiting somewhere in this Saturday. Let the peace I received in this prayer be the thing I reach for in those moments instead of my default reaction. Your word declares in the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 3, to make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Every effort. That language is intentional. Peace in a home is not passive. It is something actively chosen, maintained, returned to when it slips. It is not the natural default of people living in close quarters under pressure. It is a decision made over and over by people who have chosen something higher than the immediate satisfaction of being right or being heard or winning the moment. That is what I am asking for the grace to choose today. Not just once, in the good moments when it is easy, in the hard ones. In the moment when the conversation is going sideways and the easiest thing would be to match the energy already in the room. Give me something different to reach for in that moment, Lord. Let your peace in me be stronger than the tension around me. Let the atmosphere of this home be shaped today by what you are doing in me, not by what the week left behind in all of us. And let me be genuinely surprised today by how much changes in a household when even one person enters the room differently. Lord, I want to pray now for each person in this home by name in my heart, even if I do not speak them aloud. You know who they are. You know what each one is carrying right now, what each one needs, what each one is struggling with that may not be visible to anyone else inside these walls. For the ones who are tired, give them rest today, the real kind, the kind that actually restores. For the ones who are anxious, let your peace meet them at the level where the anxiety begins, not just on the surface, but in the place where it actually lives. For the ones who are carrying something they have not said out loud yet, Create the conditions today where it feels safe enough to say it, and give me the ears to hear it without rushing to fix it, for the relationships within this home that are strained. You know which ones. You know the history, the misunderstandings, the moments that cause damage that is still being repaired. Move in those relationships today, Lord, not necessarily with a dramatic resolution, but with small movements toward each other. A softer word where a sharp one would have been easier. A moment of patience that opens a door that tension had closed. An unexpected kindness that reminds two people why they chose each other or why they belong in each other's lives. Maybe that is exactly where you are this morning, not in a home that is broken, but in one that is tired, where people who genuinely love each other have simply run low on the reserves that make love feel easy, where the care is real but the energy to express it well has been stretched thin by a long week and a longer season. You know that home, Lord. You see what is underneath the surface of it, and you are not distant from it. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 133, verse 1, that how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. That unity is not the absence of difference. It is the presence of something that holds people together across their differences, and that something has a name. It is the peace of God, actively working inside the relationships of a household that has invited it in. Peace that passes understanding. That phrase carries weight. It means the peace I am asking for today does not require everything in this home to be resolved first. It does not wait for the difficult conversation to be over, or the financial pressure to lift, or the strained relationship to be fully repaired. It surpasses understanding. It arrives in the middle of the unfinished. It holds what human effort cannot hold on its own. Let that peace be the atmosphere of this home today, Lord. Not a performance of peace, the kind where everyone is pretending and the tension is still there underneath. Real peace, the kind that changes the air in a room, the kind that a person walks into and something in them settles, even if they cannot explain why. And Lord, I pray for something I rarely say out loud. I pray for the children in this home, or the ones who will one day pass through it, because the atmosphere of a home shapes people in ways they do not realize until much later. What a child grows up breathing becomes their baseline for what normal feels like. What they hear in the voices around them becomes the voice they eventually hear in their own head. What they experience in the relationships of their home becomes the template they carry into every relationship afterward. So let this home be a place that gives people something worth keeping. Not perfection, not the absence of difficulty, but the consistent evidence that love stays, that conflict is survivable, that forgiveness is real, that God is not just something talked about, but something lived out in the ordinary hours of an ordinary Saturday. That is the legacy a home can leave, and it begins with a morning like this one, where someone stopped and prayed and invited the one who makes all things new to come in. Lord, I invite your peace into my home today. Father, I want to ask for something now that goes beyond today. I want to ask you to establish peace as a lasting reality in this home. Not just a good Saturday, a shift in the atmosphere that continues, a new baseline for what this household feels like from the inside, because atmospheres are built over time. The atmosphere of a home right now is the result of thousands of small moments accumulated over weeks, months, years. The patterns of how conflict is handled, the habits of how people are greeted and how they are spoken to, the practice of gratitude or the habit of complaint, the presence or absence of prayer within these walls. All of it adds up to something, and that something can be changed. Not overnight, but steadily, over time, by the consistent introduction of something better than what has been the pattern. What I am asking you to do in this home is not a renovation, it is a transformation. And transformation begins with one person willing to be changed first. Let that be me, Lord. Change the way I enter a room when I am frustrated. Change the way I respond when I'm misunderstood. Change the default reaction that has become habit and replace it with something shaped by your spirit rather than my exhaustion or my defensiveness or my need to be right. Because I know this about myself. The version of me that shows up after a hard week on a Saturday morning when the reserves are low is not always the version the people in this home need, and I cannot manufacture a better version through effort. I need you to produce it. Your word declares in the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 18 that if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. As far as it depends on you. That phrase does not place the entire responsibility of peace in a home on one person, but it does ask each person to take full ownership of their part. I cannot control how others respond. I cannot guarantee that my peace will be received, but I can choose it, and I can offer it. And that choice, made consistently, has the power to shift an atmosphere over time. So today I make that choice. Before the first difficult moment, before the first irritation, before the first opportunity to be reactive instead of intentional. I choose peace as my posture for this Saturday. Lord, I invite your peace into my home today. And Father, let your peace also protect this home from what tries to enter from outside it. The anxiety that the news brings in. The comparison that arrives through a screen and quietly makes what we feel insufficient. The unresolved stress from the workplace that gets carried through the front door and deposited on the people who had nothing to do with it. Guard this home not only from what is generated within it, but from what tries to infiltrate it from without. Let this home be a place where a person can walk in from the noise of the world and feel, even just slightly, that something in here is different. That something in here holds. That kind of home does not happen by accident. It is built by prayer, by intention, and by the consistent presence of a God who was invited in and chose to stay. And I want to name something here that does not often get said in a prayer like this. Sometimes the person who most needs the peace of God in a home is not the one who is most obviously struggling. It is the one who has been holding everything together. The one who absorbs tension so others do not have to feel it. The one who manages the moods, smooths the conflicts, keeps the household running, and does all of it while quietly running on fumes themselves. If that is you this morning, this prayer is for you specifically, not just for your home in the abstract. For you, the one who holds it. You cannot give from empty. You cannot bring peace into a room when everything that sustains your own peace has been depleted by the very effort of keeping others okay. So before I ask God to use you as a carrier of peace into your household today, I first ask Him to fill you deeply in the places that are most tired, in the corners of your heart that have been giving out without receiving back. Let what is poured into you in this prayer be more than enough to cover what today will ask of you. Your word declares in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 9 that your grace is sufficient and your power is made perfect in weakness. The weakness is not a disqualification. It is the exact condition in which your strength becomes most visible. So I bring my weakness into this prayer, Lord, the places where I am not enough for what this home needs. And I trust that your grace covers every gap. Father, as this prayer moves toward its close, I want to receive your blessing over this home with both hands open. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 127, verse 1, that unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. I do not want to build this home in vain. I do not want to work at the relationships within it, manage the tensions, navigate the difficulties, put in all the effort that a shared life requires, and have it amount to something fragile because the foundation was not you. Build this house, Lord, not the structure, the life inside it, the relationships, the atmosphere, the patterns of interaction that will define what this home actually is for the people who live in it. I receive your peace over every room of this home right now, over the room where the most difficult conversations happen, over the room where the most vulnerable person in this household retreats when they need space, over the shared spaces where the tone of the whole household is set by what happens in the first moments of the morning, over the thresholds, the coming in and the going out, the arrivals and the departures that carry more emotional weight than they appear to. Let peace be what greets each person in this home today, not a rule, not a performance, a presence, your presence, Lord, in the actual physical space where these people live and love and struggle and rest. I also want to thank you for the home I have, even in its imperfection, even with its tensions and its unresolved things. It is a place where people are loved, even when the love is expressed clumsily. It is a place where life happens in all its ordinary and extraordinary forms. And you are in it. You have always been in it. What I am doing in this prayer is not bringing you to a place you were absent from. I am recognizing a presence that was already here and choosing to align myself with it more fully. Your word declares in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 6, that you are blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out. That blessing covers the threshold of this home. Every arrival, every departure, every person who walks through this door today, carrying whatever they are carrying. Let that blessing be real and active and felt. Lord, I invite your peace into my home today. That is my prayer for this Saturday. Not a perfect household, not a conflict-free day, just the genuine, living, active presence of your peace in the middle of whatever today holds inside these walls. Peace that holds when patience runs thin, peace that remains when the conversation gets hard. Peace that outlasts the tension and keeps offering something better to the people who are willing to receive it. To everyone who prayed with me this morning, go back to the comments and write it one final time. Lord, I invite your peace into my home today, and then go be the first carrier of that peace into the rooms you share with others, not because you have it all together, because you came here this morning and received something worth bringing back. Subscribe to this channel and come back tomorrow morning. Share this prayer with someone whose home needs this right now. You do not need to explain why, just send it. May the Lord fill every corner of your home with His presence today. May His peace be the atmosphere that greets every person who walks through your door. May the relationships within your walls move, even in small ways, towards something better. And may you be the person in your household who carries that peace in first, because you came here this morning and received it from the one who never runs out of it. In Jesus' name, amen.